Big Polly's World of Sports Sims proudly presents the ALTNFL 1970 season, and we come to you with a Week 6 game pitting the Kansas City Chiefs, who we had earlier in Week 3 against St. Louis in a 16-9 loss in Kansas City, facing the Minnesota Vikings. So stand by, please, as I get things ready. And I just did the roster reboot, as I do before every week's game. The reset is complete. Big Polly coming to you. We'll show you the stats of the season real quick so far. Baltimore, St. Louis, Cincinnati all at 5-0, leading their divisions. Miami still undefeated, but they had a tie in Week 1, so they're a half game behind. In the NFL in 1970, ties were thrown out. We are not throwing out ties. So that's going to be one of the things that's going to be different, along with the fact that we have 4 geographical divisions and no conferences. We have a 5-way tie at 3-2, which we're not going to figure out right now. So everybody but Denver and Houston is leading in the Western Division. John Brody, your leading passer. Ron Johnson, your leading rusher at 529. Dick Gordon, 30 catches for the Bears, who are right now in the Midwest Division at 2-3. They already won more games than they did in 1969 at 1-13. Jones, 6 touchdowns. I take that back, 8 touchdowns. He's at 48 points among the non-kickers, and so is Ron Johnson. Stenerud at 53, leading amongst everybody. In everybody that kicks extra points and field goals, that is. Paul Warfield leading over Dick Gordon in the yardage category, 540 yards. Brown and Curtis each with 5 sacks. Lombardi with 6 interceptions so far in 5 games. Atkinson, 57 tackles, so that's 11.4 a game. Miami, 30.2. They are the leading offense. Baltimore at 7.4, the leading defense by a wide margin over Cincinnati. And Miami is number 1 in the power rankings at 64.8. So let's go to today's game, a Super Bowl IV rematch. These two teams in the Midwest Division fighting for, of course, winning the division that will get you in the playoffs, but the next best 4 teams will also make the playoffs. Kansas City and Minnesota, and we have a 52-degree day in Minnesota. This would be a 2 o'clock game. I don't know how the networks would have done NFL coverage without conferences, so I'll just let you all leave that up to your imagination. Computer will coach both defenses, and off we go. Each team with their full complement of 40 players. And we reset, so if there are injuries and teams have extra players, they can use them. Lynn Dawson against Gary Quazzo. Fran Tarkenton, during this point in his career, is with the Giants. He's not with the Vikings. Coin flip's going to go Minnesota's way. They are going to receive Jones, West, Reed, back for Minnesota. And Jan Stenerud is going to kick it off, and it'll be a touchback. Let's give you the Minnesota offense, if we can find them. There we go. We'll do the Kansas City defense in a minute. Gary Quazzo out of Virginia is the quarterback. Dave Osborne of North Dakota. Clint Jones of Michigan State, your running backs. Wide receivers, Gene Washington. And at this point in the NFL, there are 2 Gene Washingtons. One plays for the Vikings, and I think another one plays for San Francisco. He's out of Michigan State. John Henderson out of Michigan. That is a later John Henderson that entered the league at some point later on in history. John Beasley, the tight end out of Cal. Ron Yeri, Milt Sunday, Mick Tinglehoff, Ed White, Grady Alderman, your your offensive line. I'm already thinking about the Kansas City defense, who we showed you Week 3. We're going to go Osborne. Kansas City going blitz. I think Quazzo's going to pick it up and throw a screen to Jones on 1st and 10. We are just getting underway here. And that was a gain of 2, not much blocking. A tackle by Lynch and a gain of 2 yards. Just doing a double check, making sure my OBS is running, which it is. Very good. Now, let's look at the Kansas City defense, which we could do now. Jerry Mays, Buck Buchanan, Curly Culp, and Aaron Brown. The photo is a later Aaron Brown. That's your front 4. Jim Lynch out of Notre Dame. Willie Lanier out of Morgan State. Bobby Bell out of Minnesota. That's your linebacking core. Emmett Thomas, Jim Kearney, Johnny Robinson, and Jim Marsalis, your defensive backfield. And when Kansas City gets the ball first offensively, we'll go through their offense and Minnesota defense. A couple of players got shaken up on that play. Jones and Washington, they're already down quite a bit on fatigue. So just going to go inside the 41, which is Osborne. He's going to gain 3 yards. And this is something that sometimes happens in action PC football. If a player is overused, they just suddenly get tired for no explained reason. 3rd and 5, so we'll go 3 wide. Grimm is going to come in the game. Show me Grimm. How grim can you be not showing me Grimm? There we go. He's out of Oregon State. So far, he has had 6 catches for 214 this year. I think that's what that's trying to tell me. We're going to go short hitch. We'll look to Gene Washington. Quazzo back. He's looking. He's going to overthrow everybody. The pass incomplete. So that's going to bring in Tom McNeil. Ed Podolak is a return threat. And with the wind at Minnesota's back, he's just going to try to outkick it, outpunt Podolak. But Podolak catches up to it, and he's going to make a fair catch at the 32. So let's set up the offense for Kansas City before they call a play. Lenny Dawson out of Purdue, Ed Podolak and Wendell Hayes. This offense has pretty much stayed the same since week 3, since we did their game with St. Louis. Otis Taylor is one of the wideouts. So is Frank Pitts. Billy Cannon has come in, and he is the primary tight end. He is out of LSU. Jim Trier, Ed Buddy, E.J. Hollub, Mo Mormon, and Dave Hill are your offensive linemen, and we'll give you the Minnesota defense here right after we go to Podolak on an off tackle to the left. He's got the ball, and he's going to get to the line and lose a yard. Alan Page, who I guess was the original Secretary of Defense on the stop for Minnesota. And let's show you their defense. Marshall, Page, Larson, Eller, your front 4, and a very good front 4 it is. Page is a 10+. Eller is a 10. Hilgenberg, Warwick, and Winston, your linebackers. Sharachman out of Pittsburgh and Bryant are your corners. Kasulki out of Drake, and Kraus, the veteran, out of Iowa, are your safeties. So that explains who everybody is for the most part. A sweep to the right with Hayes on 2nd and 11. And Hayes found the block, got to the corner, past the 40 to the 44 before Kasulki could get to him. So everybody chasing St. Louis in this Midwest division. Kansas City has lost twice to St. Louis, I do believe. We're going to go medium hitch to Taylor on play action on 1st and 10. And that, in and out of the hands of Taylor, Sharachman helped knock the ball loose, and it's 2nd and 10, Chiefs at their own 44. Outside run, Wendell Hayes. Looked like the safety might have been on a blitz or something. Yes, he was. The pitch went to Hayes. Sharachman on the tackle. He's everywhere on the field so far for the Vikings, and it's 3rd and 6. We're going to go Billy Cannon. I think there was a song about Billy Cannon when he was a standout at LSU back in the late 50s, early 60s. That throw incomplete. Mormon injured, 76, so Daney's going to have to come in. Mormon's return is questionable. Jarrell Wilson will come on to punt, and as we saw in Cincinnati-Cleveland, the last game we did, field position's at a premium here early. The line of scrimmage was the 48. And the punt returner backed up to the 9. A return of 6 before Belser trips up west. And Minnesota has a 1st and 10 at the 15. So both teams kind of feeling each other out here. Sweep left Osborne, but Kansas City has exceptional run defense. It's a B+. but their sack game and their passing defense are both A minuses. So overall, they are an A minus. That was a loss of 3. Quaslo to Osborne and Willie Lanier made a tackle. Minnesota is a C running the ball and a B passing. So we're going to go on the pass route to Henderson, John Henderson, a short hitch. On 2nd and 13, that is thrown to one of the running backs, Osborne. A little dump off, and that's a gain of 11. Bell on the tackle, 3rd and 2. We're going to feign running it, and we're actually going to go play action short pass to one of the tight ends, which will be Kramer, who comes in as a second tight end. And the throw went his way. Lanier got to him just in time, and he could not hang on. Let's show you Mr. Kramer. That's Kent Kramer out of Minnesota. I'd like to show you the players as they come in the game. And again, McNeil's going to have to punt to the very dangerous Ed Podolak. Podolak will field the ball about the 28, 29-yard line, and he calls for the fair catch, and they're going to spot him at the 30. So Kansas City's going to move their tight end to the left side, give Trier, 77 here, a little bit of a blocking boost. And we're going to go Podolak, and we're going to sweep to the left side on 1st and 10 from the 30. No score, 8:58 left. Podolak is on the loose. He gains 26 yards. Well into the last line of defense for Minnesota before Paul Krause could take him down. A gain of 26 yards. And Podolak now has 2 carries for 25. Hayes on a dive on 1st and 10 for the Minnesota 44. The first sortie onto the other side of the 50 for either team. Hayes on a dive. It was Larson making the tackle. One of the lesser known of that famed Minnesota front 4. How about a stretch to Podolak on 2nd and 9. They'll again go to that strong left side. And Podolak gaining 4 yards before Alan Page could make the tackle. It's going to be 3rd and 5 at the 39. So screen, but it's going to go to Billy Cannon. We'll use Podolak as a decoy here. But you saw it there. Hilgenberg smashes into Dawson. A 7-yard loss. It's 4th and 12. They'll bring Stenerud on. And the field goal here would be from 53 yards out. No good. No good. Wide right. But the good news for the Chiefs in this scenario is that Minnesota gets the ball at the 20 because those were the rules at the time. 5:48 left. Opening period. We have no score. Osborne inside run. They're going to have to keep trying that. And this time a little bit more success. Mays making a tackle after Osborne gains 4. A trap to the left. We'll go Jones this time. And Jones gets back to the line. I should check if Jones, Osborne, they're both one blockers, so a split formation probably does them best. Okay, 3rd and 6, we'll go Beasley on the short hitch. John Beasley, which we're going to turn into a slant because Kansas City may be blitzing. The throw, the pass got there before Beasley could get there, and it's another 3 and out for the Vikings, and it's a 4th and 6. No team has completed a 3rd down conversion yet. McNeil, number 12, back to punt at his 10. And Podolak this time is going to gain a little bit, 9 yards. McTinglehoff made the tackle, and Kansas City has the ball at their own 40. We have no score with 4:12 left in the opening period. Blitz coming. We're going to screen the Podolak instead of a sweep.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 60. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. 1st down.
Well, you heard it from the official. Winston called for PI, and it's going to be a 1st and 10 at the 45. Podolak, an inside run on 1st and 10. He crosses the 50, sachets his way down to the Minnesota 40, and a gain of 15 before Warwick could get to him. And just like that, in 2 plays, Kansas City is at the Minnesota 40. Kansas City looking to go an end around. Otis Taylor was particularly good at that. He's 89. There's the pitch to Hayes, but to Podolak, and Podolak's got nowhere to go. He loses 10 yards, tackled by Hilgenberg, and it's now going to be a 2nd and 20. And what do you do on a 2nd and 20 in 1970? You go screen to Podolak. And Podolak's got it. He doesn't gain much. Winston on the stop. It's going to be 3rd and 17. Medium fly route out of work here. We'll go to Frank Pitts. Dawson. A lot of time. This time the pass is caught by Pitts. Bryant makes the tackle, but it's going to be short of a first by 5 yards. And on 4th and 5, Stenerud's going to come back on and try a 42-yarder. And there's your kick, and it goes through the goalposts on the goal line. Good, so Kansas City has a 3-0 lead. 59 seconds left opening quarter. Jones, West, and Reed back deep for the Vikes. 1st and 10 Vikings at the 20 as they look to get something going. And even without Fran Tarkenton, Minnesota did make the playoffs a considerable bit in the early 70s because they had that good front defensive line. Gain of a yard for Osborne. And that's going to set up a 2nd and 9. We'll look to Kent Kramer on a slant. Hope Kansas City was looking for something else. Curly Culp in the face of Quazzo, and he throws an interception. Marcellus with the scoop. He's going to be tackled immediately for no gain. And Kansas City has their best field position of the game. 28-yard line with 6 seconds left, so this will probably be the last play of the quarter, and Kansas City is going into the wind. So in the 2nd and 3rd quarters, they will have the wind at their back, so we'll go Wendell Hayes to the outside on 1st and 10 from the 28. And Hayes with a sizable 7-yard gain. Krause making the tackle, and Kansas City backing up this Minnesota defense. After 15 minutes, it's 3-0 Kansas City. Full house. And I have seen, if you watch the Super Bowl IV film on YouTube or somewhere else, they do use 3 running backs in the backfield on occasion. So this is kind of historically accurate. We'll go Holmes, 2nd and 3 at the 21. That's 45. And he's going to get close to the first down but not get it. Jim Marshall, famous for his wrong way run in a game, I think in 65 against San Francisco, where he thinks he scored a touchdown, but instead gave the 49ers 2 points on that day. Straight dive, and we'll go to Hayes on 3rd and 1 from the 19. Worst case scenario here is Kansas City gets another field goal, which is going to look like is going to be the case because they were short on the first down. Winston, the outside linebacker, Roy Winston, making a nice tackle. He's out of LSU. By the way, I have a new mouse. Just bought a new mouse yesterday on Amazon. And Stenerud from 25 or so, he got it. And Kansas City is up an unconverted touchdown on the Vikings at 6-0. Jones, West, Reed, back deep for the Vikings. And that's going to go into the end zone for a touchback. Remember, Kansas City is kicking with the wind at their backs. So no wonder that ball found the goal line and beyond. Quick pass, Washington. 1st and 10 at the 20. And Marcellus nearly got that too. Nearly his 2nd pick of the day. Quazzo has started 2 for 7 for 13 yards. The matchups are not really favoring Minnesota as I see them here. We'll go Osborne on a screen pass. That's one thing they can exploit. And that's going to be 9-yard gain before Kearney got to him. It's 3rd and a yard. But neither team has completed a third down conversion as of yet. Triple tight end. So John Henderson's going to have to play tight end. I don't like that. I don't like using wide receivers as tight ends. So I'm going to get out of that. Osborne, trapped to the left. 3rd and 1 from the 29, and he is stopped behind the line of scrimmage by Buck Buchanan. So 4th and 3, the ball at the 27, and McNeil has to come in and punt. Minnesota offense not able to do much at this point, and Podolak with the fair catch at the 32. Kansas City 6, and Minnesota 0. Which I say with the FA Cup and the Champions League Championship each coming up rather shortly as I record this on May the 14th. That's right. And it's a 2-yard gain for Podolak. Larson making the tackle. 2nd down and 8 from the 34. Kansas City was 72 net yards. Kansas City 25. They committed the only turnover and the only penalty to this point. Okay, a dangerous mission here for Dawson. He's going to sweep to the left. And he's going to only gain a yard. Warwick on the stop. It's 3rd and 7. Stay in the base formation this time, and we're going to put somebody in motion. Short pass to Otis Taylor. Dawson seeming to have trouble getting in the pocket, and Eller gets there before Dawson gets there, and that's a 5-yard loss. 4th and 12, ball at the 30. Jarrell Wilson with the wind at his back. I think I said that a few times. He's going to punt it away, and that is West.
Receiving team.
With a 5-yard return, but that's going to be negated. A 13-yard penalty, so it's a half the distance penalty. And remember, if you are new to the series, prior to 1974 in the NFL, a holding penalty was 15 yards. Minnesota's going to try to move the ball laterally here. We're going to try Osborne. We don't really have that good outside runners, and Mays gets there before Osborne could turn the corner, and that's a loss of 4. 2nd and 14, Minnesota in jail, looking for the warden for a pardon here. Osborne on the screen. That's going to be incomplete. And on 3rd and 14, what do you do here? You want to protect field position. You just have to put somebody in motion. Okay, all these should be over 14 yards. So we're going to go Gene Washington here. Ball at the 8. And that is a catch. That is a first down. Gene Washington getting it over that yellow line that we see on the screen, but the players, of course, cannot see. 1st and 10 at the 22. Inside run, Osborne. Minnesota with minus a yard so far rushing, and they gained 4, so they're back in positive territory. Curly Culp making the tackle. Quazzo is 4 of 10 for 36 yards and a pick at this point. Stretch play will go to Jones. We were telling you earlier, Jones already with 8 touchdowns on the season. He gains 3 yards there, and so far in this game, that's only his 2nd carry for 3 yards total, and Curly Culp makes another tackle. He liked doing that the first time so much, he did it again. Okay, put a motion man in. Quick pass to Beasley on 3rd and 3 from the 29. Minnesota finally converting a first down the last time they had to, and that was a gain of 8, so that's 2 in a row. A first down for Minnesota at the 37. Osborne, trap to the right. And Osborne got a good block. Curly Culp getting to him. A gain of 2 yards. A gain of 2 yards, usually nothing to be excited about, but the way Minnesota has been running the ball, 10 carries for 8 yards, they'll take it. Kansas City, by the way, 13 carries, 65 yards as a team. Counter sweep. Try to make Vince Lombardi proud here. We're going to put Quazzo in for a sweep. And he will get ahead of steam. He will get a first down and a pickup of 9 yards. He's the leading rusher on his first carry. So you see the yellow line there at the 42 of Kansas City. That yellow box with the X's is the field goal range of the kicker. That's the new wrinkle that Action PC Football put in for the 2025 edition, which was what we are using to play. I have an M here, which by Minnesota player meter alert level. Okay, so you just don't go to him. We'll just go to Osborne on the trap left on 1st and 10 from the 48. 9th play of the drive, gain of a yard. We're going to go Brown on the screen. Actually, no, we'll go short pass here. 2nd and 9. Nearly, no, it was a pick by Bobby Bell. 2nd pick of the day for Quazzo. Immediately tackled, no return. So Kansas City, their 2nd turnover that they have received, and the ball is at the 47, their own 47. Trap left Podolak. Could find a hole here. He gains a yard before Carl Eller gets to him. Podolak has 6 carries, 47 yards on the day. Kansas City, C with the run offense, a B- with the pass. Minnesota is a B+ as a team, B+ against the run, a B against the pass, but their pass rush is superb, an A+. Pitts, short slant on 2nd and 9. He's got it. That's a gain of 7. And it's 3rd and 2. Dawson has only had to throw the ball 5 times so far with 2:39 left in the half, and they have rushed 14 times. How about an outside run here with Wendell Hayes, number 38. He'll get a first down and then some. Jim Marshall on the stop, a gain of 6. That'll do it. To the 2-minute warning, still 6-0, KC. Podolak, a sweep to the right. Kansas City in no hurry. On the plus side of the field, a gain of 3. They're not going to call a timeout yet, but they're going to hurry to the line, go short pass to Podolak. Dawson's going to be sacked by Alan Page. Now they'll call a timeout on 3rd and 12. Remember, limited formation, you cannot use the shotgun. Was anybody using the shotgun in 1970? Maybe Dallas. And the defenses can only play a nickel defense, nothing beyond that. And we might change that for 1971 and beyond. I think even though a team didn't usually use a certain number of backs, wide receivers, and tight end, that they shouldn't be restrained by it. And this is one of the things I forgot to change before I started doing this season. Medium hitch to Porter, the 3rd wide receiver on 3rd and 12. That is incomplete, and that almost got intercepted by Paul Krause. But with 1:30 left, Stenerud will come on, and this will be from 48. No good. He hit a field goal in Super Bowl IV against the Vikings from similar distance, and that set the Super Bowl record of the time that stood for many years. But now Minnesota with 3 timeouts and 1:24, they're going to have to go to work here. Slant to Henderson on 1st and 10. They have thrown the ball more than they have run the ball. And that's a gain of 14. Quazzo was against New Orleans, who hasn't won a game yet. 13 of 18, 230 for a touchdown last week. And Minnesota will burn a timeout. And that was a strategy a lot of teams used in the early 70s. Just go over the middle, use your timeouts, and then when you were down to 1 timeout or none, you go to the corners. Back to Henderson on a medium pass. It's dumped off to Osborne, and that's a gain of 8. And Minnesota will burn another timeout, stopping the clock at 1:12. So now you try to get out of bounds with every pass. Sweep to the right. Osborne. Oh, that might have been a mishandle. Busted play. Quazzo just surges into the line. Lynch making the tackle for a 1 yard loss. And Minnesota's going to have to hustle to the ball. Short out. Try to get out of bounds. Beasley on 3rd and 1 from the 43. That is incomplete over the head of Beasley, and the Vikings too far away for a field goal. They will have to punt here, and McMillan back deep. It was McMillan punting. Podolak was back deep. 40-yard punt. Fair catch for the Chiefs at the 17. I'm just going to run the clock out, thinking is Kansas City. Podolak just unless they get a good play, which they're not going to do. Minnesota calling timeout, which is useless because they can't stop the clock further. They can only do something here if the Chiefs screw up, and we'll go Podolak into the line one more time. Hope he doesn't fumble. 5-yard gain. Eller on the stop. That'll do it for our opening half of football. And going to halftime, your score, Kansas City 6, Minnesota nothing. And we'll be back with the second half almost immediately. So this is what we have planned, Lord willing and the creek doesn't rise, for Big Polly's World of Sports Sims next week, the week starting on the 19th of May. So if you're seeing this beyond the 19th of May, I'm just going to do a Gilda Radner here and say, never mind. ALTNFL Week 7. We don't know the game yet. We will figure that out before this episode ends. That's Monday. We're going to do Pebble Beach Tuesday and Thursday because that is a ranked monthly event, which would be the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, but we're just going to have it be a Pebble Beach Open. The third round will be Tuesday, and then the fourth round will be Thursday, the conclusive round, and a playoff if we needed such. And we just had a playoff between Tiger Woods and Lawson Little at the last event we did, which was the Super Bowl of golf in Scottsdale. And if you didn't see that episode, I just spoiled it for you. Way to go, Paulie. ALTNFL Week 8 Wednesday and ALTNFL Week 9 Friday, and then the following week we're going to do Week 10. I believe we have we have the Thanksgiving game, Week 11, and then we're just going to do a Sunday or Monday Week 11 game for you all next week as we go into Memorial Day. So, Kansas City's going to get the ball to start the second half. Let's go through the stats real quick. Kansas City was buoyed by 18 rushes for 81 yards. Dawson did not have great luck throwing. He was sacked 3 times, went 3 of 6 for 22 yards. Stenerud's 2 field goals have been the only scoring so far. Minnesota, 13 rushes for 99. 7 passes out of 15 for 66. And I think they want to try to find ways to run the ball. Quazzo, not an asset, but not really a liability either with the way he can run. Minnesota, we have had a very well officiated contest, I guess you could say, because we've only had 2 penalties, both against Minnesota for 18 yards. Kansas City with a slight lead in time of possession. They went 1 of 7 on third down. Minnesota 2 of 7. In the red zone, Kansas City has gotten the field goal, and Minnesota has not gotten into the red zone yet. You could tell the defense is dominated because Kansas City has 86 yards and Minnesota has 85. So Holmes, Podolak, and McVay back deep. Holmes is 45, usually used as a reserve running back. And he's going to get past the 40 all the way out to the 47. A return of 40 yards. And let me just double check and make sure everything's on. Yes, it is. Okay. If you're Kansas City, you don't really see a need to do anything you weren't doing in the first half. So we're just going to run it with Podolak here. And he's going to gain 9 yards. If you weren't with us for our first Chiefs game a week ago, as I record this, His best game was probably the game he had against Miami in 1971, the divisional playoff. That is still the longest game ever played in NFL history, the double overtime game. He gained 9 yards on that play, so he's 10 of 65 right now. Might be cruising in on 100 yards rushing. Quick pitch to Hayes on second and 1 from the 44. And Page got to him behind the line bigly. A 4-yard loss, and that's going to set up a 3rd and 5. But we'll go right back to Hayes on a screen. Overthrown. And it'd be a 55-yarder from here for Stenerud. We'll try it because the ball will come back to the 20. Oh, my goodness, he smoked that one. Right through the goalposts. Livingston holding, and a 55-yarder by Stenerud, and he has been all the scoring so far in this game, 9-0 in favor of KC. And it's Jones, West, Reed back deep. Thinking that's Oscar Reed going to take it. No, it's going to be a touchback. Osborne, outside run. Try to get the Kansas City defense to move laterally, and it paid off there, a gain of 9 yards. Lynch on the stop for the Chiefs. And we'll stay in that formation, and we're going to throw a medium hitch to Kramer on 2nd and 1 from the 29. And that was defended by Bobby Bell very well. Incomplete pass, nearly picked off. And on 3rd in the yard, we'll go full house. And we'll go to Brown. And Bill Brown with a gain of 7. Willie Lanier on the stop. It's 1st and 10. That's the 3rd conversion on 3rd to 1st for the Vikings. Trap to the right. Osborne. 1st and 10 at the 36. And he's got some blocking. And a gain of 2. We'll go back to the double tight end set. And we'll go to Brown. A blitz coming. We will look for a slant to Henderson instead. Incomplete.
Offsetting penalties. Repeat, 2nd down.
Offsetting penalties cancel each other out. 2nd and 8. So we'll go back to the outside run and Brown, which is what I really wanted to do initially. And Brown past the 40, wiggling his way to the 44. Mays on the stop, a gain of 6. 3rd down and 2. We'll go back to the full house, and we'll go Osborne's way. And that seems to be working for Minnesota. Beasley is now out. So Minnesota is down to 1 tight end without having a wide receiver play tight end. 1st and 10 from the 46. We have no score. We have a 7th play of the drive here, and Osborne gains 2. 2nd and 8. Beasley injured his neck, so Grimm is playing out of position. He usually is a wide receiver. Sweep left with Osborne on 2nd and 8. And that's going to be no gain. So Minnesota doing a little better running the ball. 20 carries, 47 yards. 2.4 clip. And on 3rd and 8, they're going to have to bring in Gene Washington, Henderson, and Grimm. We'll go to Henderson. We'll go to Gene Washington. Overthrown and incomplete. Marcellus with the tip. 4th and 8 from the 48. And McNeil comes in to punt. Short punt. Podolak's going to try to get to it. He does not. That was off the side of McNeil's foot, and the punt only goes 25 yards. 7:42 left, 3rd quarter. It's 9-0 against the Chiefs. Exactly the score they had against St. Louis in a losing effort. St. Louis winning that game 16-9 in week 3, which we covered. Podolak.
Unnecessary roughness.
Ooh.
Defense. Number 70. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. 1st down.
Marshall giving Podolak a little business down there, and that's a 15-yard gain. 15-yard penalty, and when you add that on, it's now first and 10 at Casey's own 48. We'll go Holmes on a quick pitch. And that's going to be a gain of 5 yards. Kansas City's going to slow the clock down a little bit here. Just try to use up time. Podolak to the trap. A trap to the left. No, it's going to be off the right side. Podolak is loose. Past the 20. Down to the 9. And Podolak has himself a 100-yard gain. 109 to be exact. And he only needed 12 carries to get there. Ed Podolak out of Iowa with a good game. First and 10 at the 9. Podolak will get the ball again. No rest for the weary. Podolak will gain 2 more yards. That's his 13th carry, and now he's at 111. Kraus on the stop. Counter sweep. Maybe we should do a 69 toss power trap here. To Wendell Hayes at the 7. And that is a gain of 3. Warwick was injured on the last play. He's going to shake it off. He's going to stay at his inside linebacker position. Now a 3rd and goal from the 4. Double tight end set. An inside run to Podolak. He's got it.
Offsides. Defense. Number 77.
Okay, so a 4th and goal at the 4 is going to turn into a 3rd and goal at the 2. Full house. We're going to use the old college option here and go to Podolak. Triple option right. Here's the pitch, and there's your score. Touchdown, Chiefs. Ed Podolak getting Kansas City's first touchdown of the game. The extra point is good, and it is 16-0 in favor of the Vikings. Kickoff will be a touchback. Bob Lee is your other quarterback, and he is the better rated passer. So let's put him in. Lee also would do some punting. He was famous for his role in the 1977 divisional playoff against the Rams at the Coliseum in terrible weather conditions. That game is on YouTube. The Mud Bowl, as they called it. Lee's going to give to Osborne, and that's going to be no gain. Tarkenton was injured, so Lee had to go in and in rather treacherous conditions at the Coliseum during some heavy rain. They were able to pull out a 14-7 win, which wasn't that close because the LA Rams got a late touchdown. Henderson, medium hitch, 2nd and 10 from the 20. He's going to put it up for the first time, and he's going to throw to Osborne, a gain of 6. Kramer, short slant on 3rd and 4. That is caught, a gain of 8. But he was one of those players in the 70s that could throw and could punt. Gain of 8, which is good to have because if it was 4th and short, you never know they were going to fake it. So Kramer with the catch, Lanier on the stop, a gain of 8 yards, 2:30 now left in our penultimate quarter. The score is 16-0, Minnesota trailing by a lot. And Osborne's going to gain 6 yards. Lanier on the stop. We're going to do a screen pass to Osborne now. On 2nd and 4. Oh, and jumping the route was Lynch. And a return of 36 yards. Kansas City's going to have it at the 5 of Minnesota. Podolak, inside run. Can he get his 2nd touchdown of the day? No. Larson with the stop at the 6. Gain of nothing. He actually lost the yard. So with 44 seconds left, I'm actually going to throw the ball here. We're going to go play action to Stroud on a short hitch. Might as well use that wind at your back as you have it. Incomplete pass. Normal formation. Short pass to Otis Taylor on 3rd and goal from the 6. Incomplete. And we start the 4th quarter with a 16-0 Chiefs lead. Stenerud, with the wind at his face now, will try a very short field goal, which he gets. That was from 13 yards out. It is 19-0 in favor of the Chiefs. So if you're the Vikings, you really got to throw the ball now. And they have already thrown 3 interceptions. Lee has thrown 1, and Quazzo has thrown 2. And a nice return from Jones, 29 yards to the 31. Henderson on the medium hitch, 1st and 10. That is incomplete. Good coverage from Emmett Thomas, number 18. Grimm a short hitch, 2nd and 10. And that was batted and caught by Grimm. Lee was hurt. He is out for the game. He injured his back. So now Quazzo has to go back in. Outside run. Osborne on 1st and 10. Chiefs looking for any old score here, trying to avoid their 2nd loss. That was a gain of 5 for Osborne, a sweep to the right. 2nd and 5. We're going to push it a little bit. We're going to go to Beasley on a short slant. Caught. A gain of 9. Chiefs probably playing a little conservatively defensively. So Lee went 3 for 5, 24 yards and an interception. Quazzo is now 8 of 18, 75 yards and 2 picks. We'll go back to the outside with Osborne. Osborne getting to the corner, a gain of 9 yards. Well, I'm going to try to put it up here. Long fly to Henderson. 2nd and 1 from the 36. Nothing really to lose here. But it's intercepted by Emmett Thomas, and that's the 3rd pick for Quazzo in this game. And the Chiefs firing on all cylinders defensively with a 19-0 lead, even though they have been outgained 166-146. Podolak in the inside. He's having a good game. He has now rushed for 114 after that 2-yard gain, and Larson making the tackle. 2nd down 8. Podolak again. That ball is not heavy, and that's a 1-yard loss. Hilgenberg on the stop. 3rd and 9. We'll just go triple option. We should slow the play down. We'll go back to Podolak. So Podolak's going to get back-to-back carries. He will gain 2 yards. No, went to Wendell Hayes on the option. Stroud was hurt, who is your 2nd tight end, and his return is now questionable. Jarrell Wilson will come on to punt with 10:46 left in the game. And remember, in 1970 through 73, we have no overtimes in regular season play. In the postseason, yes. 1st and 10 from the 42. And the Vikings really in some trouble here. We'll go Henderson, medium cross, 1st and 10 from the 42. You just keep throwing the ball. That is caught by Grimm. A check down, and that was a gain of 11. So that ball is at the Kansas City 47. I think this may be the first time Minnesota's been on the Kansas City side of the field. Maybe their 2nd time. Trying to think offhand. Pitch to the left with Osborne. And it's a 4-yard loss as Brown made the tackle. Aaron Brown. Osborne, 19 carries, but only for 37 yards. 2nd and 14, medium slant to Henderson. Kansas City playing back defensively. Deflected by Mays for an incompletion. 3rd and 14. We'll put a man in motion. At this point in the game, I would consider, well, you're on your own side of the 50. I wouldn't go for it, but I would consider it. Depends on how close we get on this play. Man in motion. We're looking for Gene Washington. And he's got the catch and a first down. A gain of 15. Washington in his second catch of the day for 29 yards. Vikings trailing 19-0. Outside run in the 3 wide receiver set for Osborne. Can Osborne get the blocking? A little bit. He gains 2. 8:06 left to go. Henderson on the slant. Quazzo. Picked off again, number 4. Lanier with the interception. He pitched it to Marcellus, and Marcellus was immediately tackled at his own 10. Full house formation for Kansas City. We're going to go Dawson inside. Tempt fate.
Holding. Offense. Number 80. 5-yard penalty.
Cannon called for a hold. 1st and 15. It's usually a 15-yard penalty, but with a half the distance. Penalty. It's only 5. Hayes inside run. And it's only a gain of a yard. Outside run. So it's looking like Kansas City's going to win. They're going to move to 4-2 on the year, and Minnesota's going to fall to 4-2. Podolak behind his goal line. Even a safety here doesn't really hurt the Chiefs. It would give you an odd score of 19-2, but other than the aesthetics, it really doesn't change much. They would still be down 3 scores. Kasulki making a tackle. Podolak with a gain of 10. He's now up to 123 yards. 3rd and 4. We're going to go triple option left. And we'll have Dawson keep it. He's moving forward, and that's a gain of 11 for Lenny Dawson. And the Chiefs with 5:23 left just want to keep the ball moving. Wendell Hayes on a dive, 1st and 10 from the 27. That's another 2-yard gain. Kansas City as a team, 34 carries, 168 yards, 4.9, and a touchdown. The only touchdown of the game. Stretch play. We'll make them think we're going to Podolak when we're going to Wendell Hayes, 38. He's going to go to the right side of the field. And he's got a first down, a gain of 9. 3:44 left to go. And the Chiefs could smell victory here. Podolak, trapped to the left. Fumble, and the Vikings have it. Return of 3 yards. Now remember, in 1970 NFL, no 2-point conversion, so Vikings need 3 touchdowns to win. We're just going to go for the bundle here, and we're going to go to Henderson. Quazzo, who's thrown 4 interceptions. There's the throw, an incompletion.
Holding. Defense. Number 18. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
That's the first turnover of the game for the Chiefs. Quick pass to Beasley with 2:47 left. That is caught, and Beasley's going to get a first down. He shakes a few defenders and gets down to the 5. A gain of 26. I think that's the biggest play of the day for the Vikings. We'll go back to Beasley on another quick pass. Incomplete. That was batted. Looked like it was batted, but incomplete nonetheless. On looking at the replay, it didn't look like that the ball was batted. 2:18 left. We're going to stretch with Osborne. And he will find the end zone. Touchdown, Vikings. Fred Cox with the extra point, and with 2:07 left, the Vikings now only trail by 12 at 19-7. Stay tuned after the game. We will have highlights, summaries of what happened in Week 6 in the ALTNFL. Podolak was on the good hands team for the onside kick. He recovered. No, it was Wendell Hayes, 38, that recovered. No return. Cox kicking that onside kick too far. He invented the Nerf football, by the way. Draft right Podolak on 1st and 10 from the 30. Podolak fumbled his last time out, so you just give him the ball back. Stroud back in as a second tight end for KC. 2-minute warning. And if you're the Vikings, do you use your timeouts here? How realistic are your chances? Gain of a yard for Podolak, Minnesota. Calling time, they have 2 timeouts left. We'll go read option, and we'll have Dawson stick with it. And Dawson, he was hit hard by Eller. And with Minnesota calling timeout, they have 1 left. Minute 41 to go. Jarrell Wilson to punt. Can the Vikings score again before the game ends? Punt by Wilson was pretty good, 49 yards. But Shirachman called for holding. So the Vikings now, a 1st and 10 from their own 10. They got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Grimm, medium out, 1st and 10. They have 1 timeout remaining. Quazzo overthrowing Grimm and setting up a 2nd and 10 from the 10. Medium out, Gene Washington on 1st and 10. That's incomplete and overthrown. Quazzo just hasn't had it today. 14 of 32. I take that back because Lee was in for 5 throws. He's 11 of 27, 127 yards and 4 picks. And they don't have anybody else left that could sub Quazzo with Bob Lee getting injured. Medium pass. That was off the hands of Henderson. 4th and 10 from the 10. We're going to do a short out. And we're going to hope Henderson can catch it. Yes, we're going to call the play. Caught and a 1st down. A gain of 11 yards, and he did get out of bounds to stop the clock. A minute 17 left to go. Long fly to Henderson on 1st and 10 from the 21. There it is. Incomplete. Thomas defensing that throw. Beasley, a short hitch on 2nd and 10. Well, you got to use that timeout anyway, I guess. Overthrown. Quazzo just getting battered around pretty good by this Chiefs defense. 3rd and 10. Medium out to Henderson. 37th throw for the Vikings today. That was only for 6 yards. And Minnesota's going to call that timeout that they had left. 4th and 4. Quarterback must throw. And we'll use an audible here. Medium out. Washington. Deep, loose. We'll just stick with the play call then. That is incomplete. Kansas City's going to take over on downs. Dawson's coming out. And Mike Livingston going in. Mr. Livingston, I presume. Inside run, Wendell Hayes. His 13th carry of the day is going to be for a yard. 48 seconds to go. Now remember, in the NFL in 1970, they didn't have the kneel down yet, so you actually had to call plays. And an outside run for Hayes on 2nd and 9. Fumble recovered by Minnesota. So 2 late turnovers go the Vikings' way. Medium out to Washington. We have 17 seconds left to go. Quazzo, incomplete. Looking for Osborne. 11 seconds left. Just going to have to keep chucking it up. 35th pass of the day for Quazzo. Another incompletion. He's had 22 passes that were either incomplete or intercepted. 4 of them were. 3 seconds left. We just might as well just chuck it. Go to Washington and just hope something good happens to try to make the score respectable. Net points is a tiebreaker. The third tiebreaker, and that is intercepted for Robinson. 5th interception of the day for Quazzo, and 6 for the Chiefs. As this one ends, the Vikings losing by 12, and they were lucky they were that close. Your MVP was Ed Podolak. Stenerud with 4 field goals. Podolak with the only touchdown for Kansas City, and Osborne got the only score. For the Vikings, Dawson only had to throw it 9 times. He only completed 3 of them, but he wasn't needed. Podolak, your leading rusher, 21 of 126. Your leading receiver was Osborne, 4 of 34. And, of course, Stenerud at the 4 field goals. And your leading defenders were Lynch for KC with 8. He also had 1 interception for 36. And Larson, the leading tackler for the Vikings, 8. So when we come back, we'll have the summaries of the other games in week number 6 of the NFL, and we will reveal to you what game we're going to do Monday on week number 7 of the NFL. So stay tuned, please. I will be right back. So we can now tell you that in the ALTNFL, we have had 2 teams lose that were undefeated, Baltimore and Miami, but all the teams that hadn't won yet still haven't won yet. Let's go through the scoring. The Jets and the Bills played to a 24-all tie. Shaw with a big day. 26 of 40 for 379. Grantham of the Jets with an interception return for a touchdown was the player of the game. That's the second tie for the Bills, and that was not too unusual in the NFL before they went to overtime in regular season games. So Baltimore was one of the teams that lost. I'll tell you about that in a second. Buffalo is now 2-2-2, and that's New York Jets' first tie. They are 1-4-1. And a squeaker in Yankee Stadium in New York. It was 31-30. Philadelphia with a comeback. They defeat the New York Football Giants. Jackson of Philadelphia caught 3 touchdowns from Norm Snead, and he took player of the game honors. Jackson went 9 of 156, 3 touchdowns. Snead 23 of 38 for 332. Tarkenton 17 of 26 for 203. So each team 3-3 in the Eastern Division. They are now 2 behind Baltimore. And speaking of Baltimore, it was a rematch of the game we had week 4 between Baltimore and Washington. That was in Baltimore. This was in Washington. And in a defensive struggle, and you'd think that would go Baltimore's way, it did not. It was the Redskins with a 6-3 win. Fisher of Washington was the MVP of that game. And we will toggle down and see what he did. 4 tackles, 1 pick. But the pick was huge in all likelihood. So Baltimore falls to 5-1. Washington now a half game behind at 4-1-1. They're going to be in that logjam of teams that are 4-1-1 or 4-2, and we have 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 of those right now. So Washington, a 6-3 winner. Detroit 4-2 in that logjam that is developing. They win 30-17, and it was Lucci, probably no relation to Susan Lucci of All My Children. 2 interception returns for Detroit off of Terry Bradshaw. Got them going, and that got them at a 17-0 lead at Three Rivers. Bradshaw with 2 touchdowns late, and he has a tendency to do that. Let's see what Lucci did. Munson and Greg Landry were both used and threw 18 passes between them. What did Lucci do in this game? Yeah, the 2 picks for 6 yards. So Detroit 4-2. They are 2 behind Cincinnati in the Mideast Division. Cincinnati a 29-22 winner over Atlanta. The Vegas bookies had this Cincinnati minus 20. So if you had Atlanta, you won. Virgil Carter, the MVP. A game of a lot of field goals, it looks like. Bowman hit 5. And how many did it? Oh, Atlanta missed one of the extra points on their touchdown. Actually, they missed 2, and that made it 29-22. What did Carter do? 5 rushes for 41 yards and a touchdown. 14-24, 164. Future World Football League player, leading Cincinnati to another win to go 6-0. We were talking about Miami losing. They lose 32-24 in Cleveland in another Mid-East Division battle. Jake Scott was your MVP. This was close late, and Jack Gregory got a safety to put the game out of reach. Clinch it for the Browns. They were playing in 47-degree weather with swirling winds. And let's see what Jake Scott did. Scott, 5 tackles, no interceptions. Did he score somehow? Yes, no. It was Scott of Cleveland who had the big game. Bo Scott, 14-35, 2 touchdowns, 6 catches for 50. So not Jake Scott, but Bo Scott. Cleveland up to 3-3. They are 3 behind Cincinnati. Miami 4-1-1. They're now a game and a half back. Gary Garrison leading the charge for the Chargers, 14-6 over Boston at Harvard Stadium, and Garrison caught an 85-yard pass from John Hadel. Garrison goes 5 for 169 to lead the Chargers. And the Chargers still very much in the argument in the Western Division, a 3-way tie between them, the 49ers, and Dallas. We just saw Kansas City beat Minnesota. St. Louis remains undefeated at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. They win 28-14 with a 21-point fourth quarter. Jimmy Hart, 14-30, 238. But threw for 3 touchdowns. 2 to Jackie Smith, 1 to Johnny Rowland. So St. Louis 6-0. They're ahead of Minnesota and Kansas City now by 2 games. Chicago 13-10. They won their 3rd this year. My goodness, break up the Bears. Seymour was the MVP, caught the pass from Jack Concannon. Seymour a standout at Notre Dame. He went 9 catches for 104, and Concannon 19 of 39 for 187. So Chicago, thinking that playoff demarcation line is going to be right around 4-2. So Chicago is not too far out of the argument at 3-3. I figure 9-5 should get you into the playoffs. Playing 14 games, 14-game seasons, realistic number. Denver in a squeaker over Houston at the Dome. Litsky and Tennessee were both used, but Whalen was the MVP in a 21-20 win. And Whalen caught 11 catches for 169 to lead the Broncos, who pick up their 2nd win of the season. And in a rematch of a game where the Rams beat Dallas in Dallas, Dallas beats the Rams 37-20. Morton was the MVP. Didn't have a very impressive stat sheet, but he threw for 266 on 8 completions. Bullet Bob Hayes, 4 catches, 127. Rucker caught a pass for 77 to lead the Cowboys, who are in that tie for the Western Division. And finally, on Monday Night Football, the 49ers outlast the Raiders 27-21. Cunningham of San Francisco, your MVP, he had a 25-yard touchdown run, a 2-yard touchdown run. Raiders make it close in the Battle of the Bay Area at Kezar Stadium last year that the 49ers play at Kezar before they moved the Candlestick. Cunningham 14 of 79 to go with his 2 touchdowns. So let's go through the standings real quick. Told you most of it already. Baltimore half-game leader over Washington in the East. In the Mid-East, Cincinnati a game and a half over Miami. We still got plenty of season left. We got 8 games for everybody. St. Louis 6-0, Minnesota KC 4-2, and we got that 3-way tie in the West. San Francisco, Dallas, and San Diego, most surprisingly, at 4-2. Oakland just a game back at 3-3. So where do we go from here? Monday, let me see here. I will just think this out for you all. Detroit and Cincinnati looks like that's the best game, just looking offhand, with 10 combined wins, but I already did Cincinnati. St. Louis, we've already shown you twice. Trying to see if anything else. And we did Baltimore already. We did Baltimore. They'll play the Giants on Monday Night Football. So what game to do here? We've already done Washington. Already done Kansas City. Trying to find a game that we haven't, teams we haven't done yet. And I'm not finding any good answers. We did Oakland. They're playing San Francisco. I'm going to do Buffalo and San Francisco next week and show you 2 new teams. San Francisco an 8-point favorite. So that's gonna be our Week 7 game. I'm going to try to show you as many teams as possible on top of getting you the best matchups. So that's our game, Buffalo and San Francisco at Kezar. That'll be our game on Monday the 19th. So this has been Big Paulie coming to you, wishing you well. Godspeed, God bless. We'll do it all again come Monday. It'll be all right. Bye-bye for now, everybody.